Cathy McMorris Rogers, Republican representative from Washington, gave the official GOP response to President Obama's State of the Union in what could be described as pretty much of a down-home, kind of hokey, kind of 1950s-esque show of, look at me, I'm super nice, and I'm relatable. Now, I think that was kind of the point. As you know, GOP has had kind of a problem with messaging when it comes to especially reaching out to minorities and women. So this makes a lot of sense. Now, most of her speech was really kind of trying to sell her background. You know, how she grew up on her family's orchard farm, picking apples with her brother, and, you know, even working at the McDonald's drive-thru to pay for college. Oh, well, look at that. I don't actually think that they could have picked a better person to do this rebuttal than Cathy McMorris Rogers. I mean, even listening to her, she sounds like a lovely person. The feeling that she gets, that she gives off to people, I think is kind of that down home, American as apple pie kind of feeling. And you can't really get more American than that. But that's what all it was was illusion. This was nothing but illusion. This illusion of 1950s old-style America. Now, that America, of course, does not exist anymore. And as far as the Republican rebuttal goes, it actually had zero policy priorities in it. It was incredibly vague. For example, she's, you know, in the middle of the speech, she says that I would like to share a more hopeful Republican vision. Okay. What's your vision? How will you get there? She didn't really go into specifics. It was incredibly vague. Now, of course, she tossed around the regular Republican talking points, such as, you know, we've got big government, that's the problem, and we need to focus on and get back to free markets. And, of course, she also had to mention the failures of Obamacare, which has just barely kicked in. Which, by the way, Republican idea. Just throwing that out there. And not only that, but this Republican idea actually passed about 8 or 9 million signups. Oh, 8 or 9 million people are now signed up for Obamacare and now have health insurance. And it would be, of course, more if certain Republican governors would have expanded Medicaid in their states, but okay. Now, as far as her, the way that she did these talking points, she did them in a very nice, sort of respectful, sort of down-home kind of way. Okay, I don't have a problem with that. But something that did bother me about this speech, other than that, is how she immediately got into an anti-choice speech. She just kind of fit an anti-choice, anti-abortion speech in there, just kind of randomly. It's kind of amazing. Now, she was speaking, of course, about her son that was born with Down syndrome. Now, I was watching the live coverage of the rebuttal, actually on the Young Turks main channel, one of our partner channels. You should check them out, youngturks.com. And Anna Kasparian, she actually brought up a really, really good point. She said that McMorris Rogers, when she had her son, she had that choice whether or not to have an abortion. And she decided to keep the child. Now, and that's all well and good because it was ultimately her choice and not the choice of a Republican governor, not the choice of the state, whether or not she should keep her child. And, the Republicans are anti-choice and are against funding for contraception and comprehensive sex education, which, of course, would allow women to have choices and keep their own choices. And speaking of choices, McMorris Rogers also said that, quote, Republicans believe your health care choices should be yours, not the government's. Okay. Well, I'm not really sure that I get her point because if she's talking about the Affordable Care Act, well, that's private insurance. That's not actually the government in health care. The only thing the government is doing is enforcing a mandate for you to get private health insurance. So the government's really not all that involved, except when it comes to a tax penalty for not getting health insurance, which you can choose to do, by the way. So you do have choices. Now, a government option would, of course, be a single payer or Medicare for all. And Obamacare, the ACA, is nowhere near close to that. So, But look, make no mistake about this. Cathy McMorris Rogers is a lovely person. Seems like a very lovely person, very nice. And putting her on to do the State of the Union is sort of an attempt to put a pleasant face on the same terrible policies the GOP has always had. And this is all about illusion, with little substance and no actual policy proposals or even any new ideas. Why? Because there are no new ideas, and they know it.